So let's concentrate a second on the sheet that was in your packet, entitled "Status as of above date." In late June, we mailed, by U.S. postal mail, we sent out 450 letters, and a questionnaire was in that packet, along with a self-addressed stamped envelope to return the questionnaire. We received 164 of those back, 6 advising us of death or withdrawals, 14 came in by PayPal, and 7 may be interested in serving as an ambassador or even maybe an officer in the organization. So that came to a total of 191, not counting the 20 that came back to us that was unable to deliver with the big yellow sticker on it from the post office. So our return percentage was 42%. I was somewhat a little dismayed by that, because when you send out 450 invitations per se, and you only get a return rate of 42%, when we made it easy for all you had to do was fill in the thing, put it in the envelope with a stamp on it, and mail it. But anyway, be that as it may, we'll see that in the next one. Of the 191 returned, how many completed the questionnaire? Well, 103 actually did, so we had a little higher percentage than that. That was 52%. But some people on the questionnaire just filled in their name and address, and I made copies of those and sent them to Jock to make sure he could update his database. And then the back of them was just absolutely blank, not filled in at all. So that was a little disheartening, but in any event, we are presently financially, as you can see, in good shape. We have our credit union account divided into 2 things. We have a part of it's a checking account, and the other part is a savings account. When we get dues payments, I deposit those into the savings account, and in the checking account, all of those checks that you mailed in for your meal tomorrow night goes into the checking account, because tomorrow I'll have to write a check to the hotel here. Actually, they've already taken it out of my credit card, so. But anyway, you can see that financially we're in good shape, mainly because of the fact of the sale of the lifetime memberships. The next one is a copy that Jock sent out of the letter. And we have this thing called constant contact, which is like when you send an email through this, it goes to everybody, and Jock is able to go in and say, okay, here's where we are. So on the first one that was sent on June 27th, we sent 439, we had 328 of those that opened, okay? 188 opened in the first 7 days, June 27th through July 4th, and an additional 140 through July and August and September. We had 19 bounced on the email address and 1 unsubscribed. So our open rate was 73.9%, but it really doesn't tell us what they did with it. We know they opened it and probably read it, but did they take any further action with it? And then on the convention registration, sent August 30th, 453 sent, 292 were opened, 245 of those in the first 7 days, August 30th through September 5th, and then 47 additional through September 19th, and 16 bounces. So the open rate on that was 65.4%. And then finally, on this 3rd page, has the blue on it. Jock sent this out. This was a survey on are you coming to the convention. He sent out 335 155 submits, and will you be attending? The answer choice yes was 18%, and no was 18 people, 1%, and no's 136, 88%. And no, if you're not coming, what's the reason? Health, 34%, previous plans, 36%, and other, 28%. And some of the, Jock has put some of the main reasons down at the bottom. Can't afford it at this time, unable to participate in the organization, sorry, best of luck in all your endeavors, and been there, done that. So, mostly, even in the ones that came back with the questionnaires, a lot of them were health problems. For instance, you know, Dick Troy, who most of you probably know was a past president, he and his wife were coming to this event, and he finally sent Jock and I an email and said, I just can't walk anymore, my knees are giving out, I can't go through the airports. And he said, my wife can't help me because she has her own problems. So he said, I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna have to forego going. But there was a lot of those. A couple, they become so expensive, and but other than that, I'd say mostly health problems. We then have our next, oops, lost my page here. Okay, so, let me ask you a question. You look around this room, you see any 30, you see any 40-year-olds here? We're all up there, 4 years ago in San Diego, John Judge says to me, Bob, we need some young people. He said, you need to run for vice president to back up Charlie Ashcraft. He says, we need young people like you. I look at him, I said, John, I'm 75. How much younger do you want, And, Bob is coming in, and he's in his early 80s. And my job is to certainly help him the way, for the next year or two, the way Charlie helped me. And it's I guess frustrating is probably the wrong word, but I don't know why or how we can attract any younger employees, and we certainly are not attracting many of the U.S. Air people. Okay? What do we need to do to attract newer and younger employees? I just celebrated my 79th birthday last Saturday. Bob is in his 80s, and as you will find out shortly, we have no candidates in line for vice president to back up Bob. Now, several of you who've been presidents maybe twice. Fred has been a president twice. Who else, Jock? Let's see, I can't.
Don Armstrong was president right here.
Okay.
I'm saying who's in the room.
Yeah.
And of course, Fred Tarrant was president.
Yeah, I mentioned Fred. But anyway, so, what we need to do is, if you know somebody in Three Diamonds and you think that they could really help us, please send me their contact, because I'd love to talk to them about being a vice president to back up Bob, and I will certainly back him up for as long as it takes. But we just can't seem to get the newer folks coming in. We'll talk about that in a second. Let me stop. Does anybody have any idea of how we can attract more people? We're going to talk about this new thing that Jock has put together that we're going to start sending out as a kind of a monthly blurb on information.
places we have over the United States that people are interested in this. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna be a single unit that, encompasses everybody, that they need to fall into this, or have regional kind of areas picked out or something like that? That needs to be a definite.
We've discussed that. That was one of the questions on the questionnaire. We got responses by, I remember one that was, I'm not going to any unless it's held in my home state.
Right,
Okay, that was number one.
because travel is
Yeah,
a problem.
and travel is a problem. And we did talk about maybe having mini conventions in different places, and I certainly am not opposed to that. And that's something that we could do. You know, get together a bunch of people that live in California, San Diego, or LA that can get there easy enough, and
Mhm.
you know, get a hotel room and have a, you
One-
know, we'll get Al to come and speak to us again. But,
One thing is kind of like,
Got membership there.
kind of like the Gray Eagles sort of thing, you know, we have different areas that people are heading up, and, you know, there's lots of different reasons. How many times are we gonna get together a year? Are we just maybe gonna do a celebratory thing where, everybody with 30 years uses this as a vacation? Or is?
There was one of the
it
questions,
important?
one of the questions on the questionnaire was, how often should we have a convention? The 2-year answer was more than the one every year,
Mhm.
okay? And it was certainly, everybody wanted more at an online station as opposed to an offline station like Branson, Missouri, or someplace like that. Okay?
Yeah.
But my wife is taking copious notes, so I think that that's something that, you know, Bob and I and Charlie and Jock can discuss, setting up these regional things. And again, because Jock has the constant contact thing, we can send that out and maybe make some hay with that after the first year. Yeah, Jock?
So Bob, Rita Satilli and I have talked about just getting together occasionally in the DFW area, because we have a lot of members there. Just an informal get-together, just meet some ever place, whether it's happy hour or something like that. Because what I see in this organization, unless you come to this event, you really, yeah, you know some of the other people, but you don't get to meet people beyond your own universe.
Yeah.
And with 450 members, a lot of people don't even know who's a member. When you join, you get a long list of all the people. And beyond that, unless you come to the convention or have some personal contact with people, you don't, it becomes a certain anonymity within the organization.
Yeah. Yes, Robert?
I think initially I should stand up and start a chant for, hey, let's all back up, Bob. Thanks for here. Back up. So we start the day chanting, let's back up, Bob. But I recall in some of the conversations, whether they be phone calls or not, Bob, we even mentioned the virtual convention. You know, that's quite popular now, the ability to do a Zoom call where people can participate. Now, I can't speak to you about sophistication, I don't know enough to how we make that work. But with the percentage of people that can't get here physically, can't get anywhere physically, that might be an option, I think.
That's a good idea.
We-
That's a really good idea.
We didn't really, I think when I brought it up, the only thing I heard in the room was crickets. Nobody said anything about it, but it's possible to do it. You might have to hire a contractor to show us how to do
Well,
it.
you know, you and I and Charlie and Jock will start talking about that.
But I still would like to hear the chant started sometime about, let's back up, Bob, that sounds so good. By the way, I've always wanted to be a stand-up comic, so I try to get, you know, it's gotta be fun in this life, and I look forward to every time, every day.
Any other comments before we?
I have a breakfast every month with, retirees, in Los Angeles with maintenance, it's all mechanics, guys I worked with back in the 70s and 80s. And I've talked to about, you know, the Three Diamonds. Some of them have been members and some haven't. But a lot of them, they're the same thing. They're 75, they're 78, they're 80, and they don't travel.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we get sometimes 20 guys to a breakfast once a month, which is, you know, a good turnout. And but they're all at that age where they're not going to travel.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I like the Zoom thing, and, what's her name is, up to date on it, isn't she, your friend out there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Bob, by the way, is on the board of the, Air and Space Museum in, I'll get you in a second, Alan, in San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
And, tell us who you're inducting next week.
Captain Kirk. We have a Hall of Fame event every year. We invite someone who has done something notable in aviation. C.R. Smith's name is there, his picture and painting on the wall, along with Bob Crandall. That took a lot of help to get him in there. I joke about that, but he's in there as well. So Airlines is pretty prominent in that museum. It's probably one of the finest air and space museums in the country. And what do you want me to talk about?
No, Cindy has Zoom experience, right?
Yes, she does.
Alan.
I was gonna say, you know, most people can get to a hub or at a hub. So what if you did like, you know, and just published a schedule, a yearly schedule of a lunch, like some of the retired folks that get together from different work groups around the system, and for people to do that. And then if you go to a 2-year convention because of the difficulty of travel, if you were to live stream this executive meeting and then do a live stream of your dinner, that might entice some people to see the fun that's going on in the conversation
Good point.
and the camaraderie that might say, hey, you know, I'm gonna make an effort to go to that the next one.
Good.
And Alan, that's why I'm doing the video. It's not live stream, but it'll be out there.
And that's good.
Bob,
Bill.
a thought on the issue of membership and stuff. Taking the convention out of it, and I'm a, you know, retiree or a soon-to-be retiree, what is in it for me outside of the convention to join? That's the question.
Yeah.
And that's what I think, we've got to come up with an answer, and I think piggybacking on that, these quarterly, or whatever they are, video things, which darn near everybody in the world, I mean, I can even figure things out now. But, people will do that, and they'll join it, and then I think you can really build a good interest base when you give them some reason to join, whether it's, you have somebody come in and tell sea stories from their time with the company, whatever it is, if you put that out there with the, on social media, I think that's a good first step in getting it. The second thing is, and this is probably something that can't be done with the current leadership of this operation, now. It would be sure nice if we could get a list of retirees, or people that are getting ready to retire. And I got a feeling.
We can't get it.
Yeah.
They won't give it to us. You know, in the past, the legacy American used to contribute to this organization. And that, you know, that went away with the merger. But, Charlie Ashcraft has asked constantly, you know, but it's something to do with the privacy laws and all this other stuff, and they just won't give it to us.
Have you approached the current leadership about maybe promoting or being part of this society and actually, you know, talking about it?
Who has Charlie talked to, Jock? Do you know over there?
I can't say specifically, no.
Yeah.
I'll take that on.
Okay, I appreciate that.
You know, there's so much going on, as far as privacy and the company having the ability to do it and us being restricted. And I know there are lots of groups that would like to get together. Somehow, there needs to be some lifting of that privacy to certain individuals.
It's called opt-in, so, they just have to be given the opportunity to opt in. So that's what I'll pursue.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if when they gave out the 30-year pins to individuals, that they would give them a copy of this application to fill out for membership
Or
along with
just
the
a
little.
card that has a QR code on it. That they
So
can
we tried to do that too, to see if personnel would make that as part of the package for the retirees that had 30 years.
Yeah,
And it came up again, this privacy law. So it's tough, it's tough.
Is, this organization in touch with other organizations, like the Gray Eagles and I guess the Kiwis and if there's other, I don't know if there's other organizations.
Well,
within-
Jock can expound on that, because he's a member of all of them, but, I don't know, Alan, you were telling us last night that that the last Gray Eagles thing, only had a much less attendance than what they normally have.
No, Gray Eagles lunch, I think, actually gets, in DFW, gets a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
they fill the place up.
Yeah,
And honestly, being an active employee, a lot of times I don't go to those, but when they ask me to come and talk, I do.
yeah.
And I'm amazed at the number that are there, and I'm amazed at how many of the people there I know.
Yeah.
That's just DFW.
That's just
Yeah,
DFW,
that's
exactly.
just DFW, because it's a big base.
I'll work on some things for you as far as the company goes,
I
since I'm an
appreciate that.
insider. And I'll see what I can pry out of their hands.
Bob, as far as numbers, the DFW Gray Eagles, we have 80 to 90 people. Well, we've got a large group to draw from. What you were referring to was the last national convention in Charlotte in 2022. 3,000 plus members of the Gray Eagles had 121 people attend the convention, whatever percentage. That's an extremely small percentage.
yeah.
So an organization like that, which has a lot more resources than we do, their convention, if you're looking at numbers, the president wanted 400 people. We got 121. So we're not alone in this.
Yeah, in this valley, yeah.
Well, we're losing the difference between when, technically date-wise, but when US Air came in, and they probably cut a lot of expenses, and things happened and everything materialized, so they're not keeping the legacy of America. And we probably need to help them understand that this legacy that we built should be incorporated to start again. You know, wind up all that stuff and have them, I don't know, maybe contribute to it. Maybe they want to save money, maybe they don't want to contribute to it. But somehow we need to figure out how to extend things to basically do the old stuff we used to do.
Yeah.
Instead of everybody being so self-worthy and gratuitous about their own stuff.
Well, I'm an educator, so I'll try to cross that bridge.
Thank you, Alan. Okay, let's move along to, lifetime, membership program. I gotta tell you, when, Charlie Ashcraft, promoted this, idea, I don't know the Constitution and bylaws, I'm sorry. Back during the pandemic, and when we were trying to put together, to plan a convention for that year, John Tippett, Charlie Ashcraft, Jock, myself, spent countless hours poring over the current Constitution and bylaws. And I think we did what, Jock, about 5 or 6 iterations of this thing.
Yes.
So we changed a couple of words here and a few words there, but I put an overview basically of the changes, the main changes that were made. And in Article 3, Section 1, we added the provision of an employee with 27.5 years of active documented service who was voluntarily separated would have reached the 30-year plateau, would be eligible for membership on a mutually agreeable vote by the board members. Okay? Article 3, Section 2 permits the spouse of a deceased member can become an associate member, but cannot vote at membership meetings or hold office. Article 3, Section 3 changes dues to $30 per year from $25, and deleting from convention to convention to annual dues commencing the first month of the year. New members joining in the fourth quarter of the year will become members for the current and following year. So if somebody joined, let's say, today in October, they would be paid up for this year plus all of next year. Article 3, Section 4, effective January 1st, 2022, we instituted a lifetime membership structure as printed on page 2 of the bylaws. And it gives the tier thing, effective this lifetime membership fee structure. Tier 1, ages 50 to 64, $300. Tier 2, 65 to 69, $250. Tier 3, ages 70 to 79, $200. And Tier 4, ages 80 plus, $150. The lifetime membership fee structure may be discontinued at the beginning of each calendar year to any new members if deemed appropriate. Now, I gotta tell you, when Charlie first proposed this thing, I poo-pooed this thing. I said, this thing doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of working. But yet today, we sold 107 memberships, which is basically why you see in that first page why there's so much money in the savings account. It's from dues. We also decided that rather than put have Jock mail you a membership card that says you're a life member, we felt that if you've invested this in your society, you should have a recognition. So Charles devised a coin which takes the place of a membership card. And I have mine and I'm gonna pass it around. I'd like it back. I was number 4 to pay up. And if you take a look at it, it says lifetime member, and then 3 Diamond Society on the top, the eagle, and then on the back, lifetime of dedicated service through the years. And the 5 symbols of service of the company are on the back of the coin. I'll tell you a little inside information. We spend more time deciding the placement of those 5 things on the back of this coin than we did probably doing the rewrite of the whole thing. But anyway, I'm going to pass it around, and I do have, I think I did put an application in the packet that if anybody was interested and wants to join, right here, I have spare coins with me.
Got a question here from Don.
Yeah.
Help me to understand how that works for the associate member. If I buy a lifetime how does my wife fit in there as an
She
associate
would,
member?
on a lifetime, she would become an associate member.
Okay.
Similar to what we did with John Judge's wife, Mary Ann. Last week, we took her out to lunch and presented her with John's an honorary lifetime membership.
Okay,
But that's what we have.
okay.
Now, if the person wasn't a lifetime member, okay, and wanted to, just pay yearly dues, then she is an associate, assuming it's a she, would pay,
Keep
continue to
the
pay
dues, right.
annual dues as an associate.
Okay. That answered my question.
So, on the very back page of the Constitution and bylaws, it says, Article 7, Section 1, these bylaws may be amended only at an annual convention by a majority of the voting members present, or when deemed appropriate by the majority of the executive board. So, at this time, I would like to put a motion forward that we accept these bylaws as printed and amended. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
Thank you.